Indiana leads by 11 with 5:48 remaining in the second.
Caitlin Clark has faced plenty of obstacles on the court, but nothing has frustrated fans more than the inconsistent and outright questionable officiating. From missed calls to unnecessary technicals, it's starting to feel like the referees have a personal grudge against her. Is this just tough competition, or is there something deeper going on? Every time Clark steps onto the floor, the energy in the arena is electric. Fans are on their feet, eagerly anticipating her signature deep threes and flashy assists. But instead of just focusing on her game, Clark constantly has to be aware, not just of defenders, but of referees who seem ready to blow the whistle at the most questionable moments. The crowd, once roaring in excitement, often finds itself booing the officials over decisions that simply don't add up. So, what's really happening? Are these just bad calls, or is a pattern of bias starting to emerge? We're breaking down 10 of the most outrageous, game-changing calls that have left fans, analysts, and even players stunned. And trust me, when we get to number 7, you won't believe how blatant it's become. Let's start with one of the most absurd missed calls in recent memory. September 22nd, Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun playoffs. Tensions were already high as the Fever faced the Sun in the postseason. Clark, the most electrifying rookie in the league, was in the spotlight. But instead of a thrilling matchup, fans witnessed one of the worst officiating blunders of the year. Early in the game, Dejanay Carrington lunged for the ball, but ended up striking Clark directly in the eye.
Clark, harassed by Carrington, finds Boston. Clark gets hit in the face by Carrington and is down.
The force of the impact left her momentarily dazed, blinking to regain focus. The crowd waited for the whistle, and waited and waited. But it never came. Clark, harassed by Carrington, finds Boston. Clark gets hit in the face, and she's down. Fans exploded in outrage, expecting at least a foul call, if not a flagrant. Instead, the referees said nothing, allowing play to continue as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, Clark, clearly affected by the hit, struggled to find her rhythm. She finished the first half, shooting an uncharacteristic 1 for 9 from the field, including 0 for 6 from beyond the arc. A noticeable bruise began forming around her eye, a physical reminder of yet another no call. And this was just the beginning.
After taking a shot, following the pass to Boston.
Was this just another case of rough playoff basketball, or was something else at play? Either way, the message was clear. Clark wasn't going to get the kind of calls other stars typically receive. If anything, she seemed to be on the receiving end of some of the worst officiating the league had to offer.
As everyone else has seen this angle, I'm calling her in and I'm saying to her, I need answers.
Fans took to social media, demanding accountability. This is the worst officiated game I've ever seen. One furious viewer tweeted, "The refereeing is an absolute embarrassment," another added. But despite the growing outrage, Clark did what she does best, kept her head down and continued competing. And the questionable officiating didn't stop there. Throughout the game, Clark endured relentless physicality, held, shoved, and repeatedly hit. Yet the whistle remained silent. No fouls, no protection, just an expectation for her to push through it all. Even game commentators couldn't ignore the excessive contact, calling out the blatant fouls.
Clark trying to get around Mabry. Clark to the rim, reverses it home through the contact.
But the referees? Completely indifferent. Clark, however, didn't let the missed calls define her. She adapted, proving yet again why she's one of the toughest competitors in the league. August 28th, Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun. This time, it was Alyssa Thomas, delivering a shoulder check so hard it sent Clark crashing to the floor. The arena gasped in disbelief. The hit was brutal. And yet, the officials only called a common foul. Fans erupted. "That's not basketball," one fan tweeted. "Leaning in with the shoulder? That's a blatant flagrant," another posted. Despite the clear excessive contact, the officials shrugged it off, fueling concerns about bias in WNBA officiating. Clark, however, refused to let it shake her. She got back up, stayed locked in, and went straight back to work, showcasing her elite mental toughness. August 18th, Indiana Fever versus Seattle Storm. Clark was near the Seattle bench, hyping up the crowd. The atmosphere was electric. And then, suddenly, Skylar Diggins-Smith stepped in and shoved her, completely unprovoked. The reaction from the crowd was immediate. Cheers turned to gasps, then to deafening boos. But once again, the referees let it go. No foul, no technical, no warning, just silence. Fans took to social media in frustration. "How is this not a foul?" one person asked. "Certain players can get away with blatant aggression, while Clark gets a technical for hitting the padding of the hoop," another pointed out. That's right, later, that same game, Clark received a technical foul for lightly hitting the padding under the basket after missing a shot. The inconsistency is staggering. May 22nd, Indiana Fever versus Seattle Storm. Clark drove hard to the basket, taking contact not once, not twice, but 3 times. Still, no whistle. Fever head coach Christy Sides had finally had enough. "We need better officiating. We need those calls," she said post-game. Her words weren't just frustration. They were a direct challenge to the WNBA to do better.
I got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the 3 and then I went and hit the backboard, and he told me it was disrespectful to the game of basketball.
May 20th, Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun. Clark was making her way through a screen when disaster struck. Her ankle rolled awkwardly, sending her crashing to the floor in pain. The entire arena held its breath. Surely this warranted a whistle. Surely the referees would stop the game. But once again, silence. Fans couldn't believe it. If a hard screen resulting in a rolled ankle isn't a foul, then what is? One person tweeted. The question wasn't just about fairness. It was about player safety. The bigger picture, through all of this, Clark has remained unfazed. No matter how many hits she takes, how many times the whistle stays silent, or how unfair the officiating seems, she adjusts, fights, and continues proving why she's the future of the WNBA. These aren't just bad calls. They're moments that have sparked outrage, fueled debates, and forced fans to question the integrity of WNBA officiating. So now, the real question, what does this mean for the future of the WNBA? How does the league ensure fair play while maintaining the intensity that makes basketball so exciting? We've broken down the calls, we've seen the hits, we've watched Clark fight through it all. Now it's your turn to weigh in. Is the WNBA failing to protect its biggest star, or is this just part of the game? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on your screen, and we'll see you in the next one.